Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, we're always kind of digging into natural remedies, right? Well, today we're putting on our hazard suits. We're diving into the hidden dangers of Philippine medicinal plants.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We're looking at, list of Philippine medicinal plants with known toxicity. It's, get this, a living document, constantly updated, and the brains behind it. Dr. Godofredo U. Stewart Jr., a medical doctor who's basically like compiling the ultimate guide to what not to put in your morning tea.
Always important to know what not to brew.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And the coolest part, Dr. Stewart's all about crowdsourcing knowledge, you know? He's like, send me your plant wisdom, especially the don't try this at home kind.
That's smart. Tapping into that generational knowledge can be so valuable.
Totally. But okay, I gotta be honest, when I hear toxic plants, I'm picturing like those crazy rainforest species, right? You know, names like devil snare or something.
Right, straight out of a fantasy novel.
Exactly. But going through Dr. Stewart's list, I found some surprisingly familiar names, like plants you might actually have in your house right now.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, take oleander, for example. Those
Really?
pretty flowering shrubs.
Oh, I know those. They're everywhere.
Right. Well, guess what? They're on the list.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
Those are toxic.
Yep. Apparently, they have these things called cardiac glycosides. Basically, they can really mess up your heart's rhythm.
Wow, I had no idea. See, this is why I love this stuff. You never know what you might learn.
Right. So it's not just about avoiding plants with scary-sounding names.
Nope. Sometimes the prettiest ones are the sneakiest.
Okay, that's officially more terrifying than any devil snare, but it gets worse. Think castor plant. You know, castor oil.
Sure, for sure.
Harmless, right. Well, those beans, they have ricin.
Hold on. Ricin, as in the poison.
One and the same. It's pretty intense stuff. Gets into your cells, messes with protein production. Not good.
Definitely not something you want to be messing around with.
Not at all. Okay, now for the real kicker. Ready? Common garden and houseplants.
You're kidding, right?
Dead serious. Nandina, also called sacred bamboo, those bright red berries, cyanide compounds.
No way. I actually have some of those in my yard. And my dog. Oh no, I gotta keep them away from those.
It's a good thing we're having this conversation. Seriously though, it's scary how many of these plants we just like live around without realizing.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to plants.
Couldn't agree more. But you know, since we're on the topic of houseplants, how about Dieffenbachia, those big leafy ones?
Oh yeah, my grandma used to have one. Beautiful plant.
Beautiful, but potentially painful.
What do you mean?
The sap. Inside the stems and leaves, it can cause this like crazy burning sensation if it gets on your skin.
Wait, are you serious?
Totally serious.
I used to touch those leaves all the time when I was a kid. I had no idea.
Well, let's just hope you didn't, touch your eyes or mouth after.
Yikes. Okay, that's good to know.
Right. It's wild what you learn, huh? Makes you think twice about being a plant parent.
You could say that again. But hey, better safe than sorry.
Right, exactly. And knowledge is power. But, now I'm wondering, are there plants out there that are like part safe, part dangerous, certain parts you have to be extra careful with?
You mean like Jekyll and Hyde plants?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, absolutely. It's not always safe versus toxic with plants. Sometimes it's about knowing what to avoid. It's like, that whole thing about a fine line between love and hate.
Okay, yeah.
Well, with plants, sometimes it's more like a fine line between edible and, let's just say, call the paramedics.
Okay, traumatic, but I get it. So what are we talking about here? Any examples from the list that really highlight this whole plant duality thing?
Oh, tons. But sea mango's a good one.
Sea mango. Wait, I think I've eaten that before. It's a fruit, right?
Yeah. And when it's ripe, totally safe, delicious even. People use it in desserts, juices, all sorts of stuff, especially in Southeast Asia.
Right.
But, and this is a big but.
Uh-oh. I'm sensing a but coming on.
Unripe fruit, toxic, seeds, super toxic. Even the sap from the tree can be dangerous.
Wait, seriously. So I could have been sipping on a sea mango smoothie, totally oblivious to the fact that I could have been poisoned by the same fruit in the wild.
Let's just say it's a good thing you're not out there foraging for your own sea mangoes.
Yeah, maybe I'll stick to the grocery store for those. But okay, so always double check that ripeness. Got it. But as we're talking, it makes me think about, we've been focusing on accidental poisoning, but what about intentional use? Plants that have a history of being used for, less than noble purposes.
You're getting into the dark side of ethnobotany now.
Ooh, spooky.
Because let's face it, plants, They're not all sunshine and photosynthesis.
So we're talking like straight up poisons.
Oh yeah, Dr. Stewart's list mentions plants used as fish poisons, for example.
Fish poisons? What, like they just chuck these plants in the water and...
Pretty much. Crush them up, toss them in, boom, easy fishing. Pretty clever when you think about it.
Resourceful, I'll give them that. But what about like hunting? Any plants used for that?
Oh, absolutely. Arrow poisons were a big one. Plants with compounds that could paralyze or kill prey quickly.
See, this is the stuff that just blows my mind. Like, how did people even figure this stuff out?
Right. It's a testament to like generations of observation, experimentation, a real understanding of the natural world.
And a reminder that the line between like medicine and poison can be razor thin.
Exactly. What we might label as toxic today could have been a vital resource for our ancestors.
It's all about perspective, I guess.
And context, which is a perfect segue to bring in our expert, who can give us some more insights on this incredible list and what it means for understanding plant toxicity in the Philippines. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Happy to be here. All this talk about the different ways plants have been used, it really highlights something crucial. When it comes to toxicity, things aren't always so black and white.
I feel like we've been saying that a lot today, haha. But what do you mean specifically?
We'll take dosage, for instance. You can have a plant that seems totally harmless. Maybe it's even a common herb you use in cooking.
Right, like basil or something.
Exactly. But even something like basil, if you have way too much, it can become toxic. Or if it's like super concentrated in some way.
So it's all about what? Moderation.
In a way, yeah. It's about understanding that the dose makes the poison. This applies to everything, but especially natural remedies. Just because something's natural doesn't automatically mean it's safe to gobble down in huge amounts.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. And it also makes me think, like, how do we even navigate this whole thing with traditional medicine? Where's the line between potentially beneficial and potentially dangerous?
That's where informed decision-making comes in.
Yeah.
If you're considering using any plant-based remedy, do your research.
Always good advice.
And hey, when in doubt, talk to a healthcare provider who knows their stuff about herbal medicine. Don't just trust some random person on the internet.
Speaking of knowing their stuff, can we just take a second to appreciate Dr. Stewart and this incredible list? Seriously, what a resource.
Right. And the fact that he keeps it updated encourages people to contribute. That's dedication.
It really shows you the power of like collaboration and shared knowledge. Okay, so as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's the biggest thing you want our listeners to take away?
I think the key takeaway is this. Plants are powerful. They can heal, they can harm, and they can definitely surprise us.
No kidding.
But the more we learn about them, the better equipped we are to use them safely and responsibly.
Well said. And on that note, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this fascinating discussion and leave you with some food for thought. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been on this winding road, haven't we? Uncovering all these secrets about Philippine medicinal plants.
It really shows you how much there is to learn, even about plants we think we know.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowledge is power, right? It's like that's been our motto this entire time. But okay, something's been kind of bugging me.
Hold up.
It's like this. We talk about plants that can heal, plants that can harm, right? Even those used for, fishing, hunting, all those things. But where do we even draw the line? I mean, how do we reconcile knowing a plant can be dangerous, but still wanting to use it for good?
That's a really interesting question. And honestly, it's something ethnobotanists wrestle with all the time. You have to remember, plants, they're not here just for us.
Right.
They've got their own history, their own way of surviving. And sometimes that means creating compounds that just happen to be toxic to humans.
So we can't, judge them based on our standards.
Exactly.
No.
We can't label a plant as good or bad just because of its chemistry.
Okay.
It's about understanding the science, respecting their power, and then using that knowledge carefully.
So finding that balance.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a tightrope walk, honestly. On the one side, you have this amazing chance to learn from generations of knowledge, to see how plants can heal.
Yeah.
But we got to balance that with responsibility. We can't use that knowledge to harm ourselves or the environment.
It's a lot to think about.
It really is.
After today, honestly, I'm kind of in awe. Plants are incredible, they're beautiful, they're powerful, and yeah, sometimes a little dangerous. It's our job to approach them with respect, curiosity, and a good dose of caution, I think.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And hey, remember, this is just the start, right? Keep digging into Dr. Stewart's list, do your own research. There's a whole world of natural remedies out there.
Waiting to be discovered. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive, everyone. Thanks for joining us as we explored this captivating and sometimes perilous world of Philippine medicinal plants. Until next time, stay curious.